start කරමු last week අපි නවත්තමු තැනින් price elasticity of demand, price elasticity of demand, cost elasticity of demand, income elasticity of demand. Right. We understood the last time there is an inverse relationship between price and the quantity demand. Just I'm going to draw a table here. When the price is 500 units are purchased, then the price is 10, only 8 units are purchased. There is an inverse relationship. So price elasticity of demand means we are going to calculate such a response between there is a the quantity demand of a good depends upon the price. Therefore quantity demand is a dependent factor and price is an independent factor. When the price changes, quantity demand can also be changed. In here, when the price increases, quantity demand change. We are going to calculate the percentage change right now. So how do we calculate the percentage change in price? We take the difference. Difference is 5 divided by the original value. Original value also 5 multiplied by 100. So the answer is 100%. It is 100%. Next one, percentage change in quantity. When the quantity demand decreases from 100 to 80, the difference is 20. It was at 100 and multiplied by 100. Multiplied by 100. Then the answer is 20%. So the price elasticity of demand measures the responsiveness of percentage change in quantity demand due to the percentage change in price. So when we look at these two figures, when the price increases by 100%, quantity demand decreases by 20%. Therefore, when the price increases by 100%, quantity demand change by 20. When the price increases by 1%, quantity demand change by 0.2%. 0.2%. So price elasticity of demand means this value, 0.2. So 0.2 is the response of the quantity demand due to 1% change in price. Here the price changed by 1. As a result, quantity demand changed by 0.2. Therefore, price elasticity of demand means 0.2. We do not put a percentage sign. Anyways, we can put a minus sign. What does the minus sign represent? Inverse relationship. The inverse relationship occurred between price and quantity demand. Right. So it says over the other sensitivity that exists between price of a good and its quantity demanded, or in other words, the value that shows the percentage change in quantity demanded of a good resulting from 1% change in good price of a good is referred to as the price elasticity of demand. So we look at the responsiveness of percentage change in quantity demand due to the percentage change in price. It is called price elasticity of demand. Then the price elasticity of demand of a good like this can be categorized into two. One is point elasticity. Point. Actually, we look at the value of PED in a particular point. Right now, I considered price 5. So it is called point elasticity. Next one, we have arc elasticity. It's a second method. In that case, we look at both prices as a whole and we measure the price elasticity of demand. So the price elasticity of demand under the point elasticity, it represents the percentage change in quantity demand and when moving from one point to another on the demand curve as a result of percentage change in price of one good, while all the other factors that influence demand remains the same, is measured through point elasticity of demand. The following formula is used in measuring point elasticity of demand. This is the formula we actually use. Percentage change in quantity demand, according to my example, 20%, due to 100% change in price. 100% change in price. This is called value of PED or price elasticity of demand. Uh, then we can use another formula as well. This is the next one. Price elasticity of demand, PED. So the price elasticity of demand is measured percentage delta Q over delta P into P over Q. If we look at the same table what I drew before, price and the quantity demand. Price was at 5, quantity demand is 100, price is 10, quantity demand is 80. So right now I can substitute to this formula. There should be a same answer. Then delta Q sense change in quantity. When we look at the table, change in quantity between 100 and 80, it is 20. Change in price, 5. Should be multiplied. Price, of course, here we are considering point elasticity at a particular point like this. If we simplify this one, our answer 0.2. In front, we should write minus sign. What does the minus sign represent? Inverse relationship. So the inverse relationship occurred between price and quantity demand while other factors are held constant. This is a price elasticity. The way of calculating price elasticity, then you should remember these two formulas necessarily. These two. You are given particular things over there. The way of adopting such a formula, we don't need it. You should know these two at last. Then the next, we can say arc elasticity. Arc elasticity means we look at a range. Earlier we considered a point. Right now we look at a range. Range sense, it says arc elasticity measures the elasticity between 2 points corresponding to two different prices of given good using the midpoint. It measures the percentage change in quantity demand resulting from percentage change in the price of the given good and calculate the value of elasticity over certain area of demand curve or the price range. We look at a range right now to calculate PED. Right. Let me show you the next one. Right. Here the arc city. Under the arc elasticity, we calculate under the arc elasticity, we calculate change in quantity, change in price as usual. In addition, we look at P1 and P2, both prices and both quantities. Both prices and both quantities. Finally, we use this formula. So you should remember this is the one, arc elasticity. When I use the previous table, price is 10, say price is 500, 10, 80. So the PED means change in quantity 20, change in price 5. So multiplied P1 plus P2. P1 means previous price 5. Next one 10 divided by Q1 100 plus 80. So if we simplify this, we will get the final answer. .3 with a minus sign. Earlier we received 0.2, now the value is 0.3. So there is a difference. When we calculate point elasticity, it differs from point to point. Right now we look at both prices, a range. Therefore, we will have a midpoint, value at a midpoint, 0.3. So that is the difference between arc elasticity and point elasticity. Next, we will look at different categories of price elasticity of demand. Right now, what we discussed here, definition, first of all, price elasticity of demand. Thereafter, we considered the way of calculating price elasticity of demand. That means point elasticity of demand and the arc elasticity of demand. Right now, we are going to discuss different categories. Categories are in 5. In economics, this is a normal demand curve as we studied. So the demand curve slopes downward from left to right. Midpoint somewhere here. This is the midpoint. The value of PED is said to be 1. It is called unitary. Over there, PED equal 0. Over here, PED equal infinity. And the PED somewhere there, we can say elastic. The range over here, inelastic. Right. This is how we calculate or we realize the PED. This is the one. Elastic, inelastic, midpoint is unitary. You are given same thing separately. Perfectly inelastic means PED equals 0. Then inelastic, unitary, elastic, and perfectly elastic. We have to realize different or specific diagrams for each and every one. First of all, perfectly inelastic. Perfectly inelastic means, the percentage change. I told you before, quantity demand depends upon the price. If the price changes, quantity demand will also be changed. Right now, quantity demand stays the same, even though price increases or decreases. You see, quantity demand stays the same. This is called perfectly inelastic. Perfectly inelastic. You can see the table even as an example. Price change, quantity stays the same. Actually, very basic necessities, very essential goods, maybe salt or else very important foodstuffs, are said to be perfectly inelastic. That means even though price high or price is low, consumers will continue to buy the same quantity. That is the meaning of perfectly inelastic. So special case here, the value of PED, here the no response, even though price increases or decreases, value of PED is zero. Value of PED is zero. Uh, it says there, when the quantity demand of a good does not change as the price of a good, uh, as the price of a given good, or then the nature of the demand of the good of said good is perfectly inelastic. The elasticity coefficient means the value of the price elastic, price inelastic, perfectly inelastic. Demand curve is zero, value is zero, and the demand is straight line parallel to the vertical axis. Right. The next one, inelastic. So the inelastic means the responsiveness of percentage change in quantity demand is lower than the percentage change in price. Right now, the quantity demand can change. Uh, there are, say, price can change, but quantity demand will also change less than the proportionate change in price. For example, if the price increases by 10%, quantity demand decreases by 5%. You see, the response is relatively low. It is called inelastic demand. Over there, when the resultant percentage change in quantity demanded is less than the percentage change in price of a given good, then the demand of the given good is price inelastic. Value is less than 1. Let me show you the next. So it says here the demand curve is earlier, of course, vertical curve. Right now, it is somewhat slanted. Mm. We can say steeper demand curve. The slope is very high. When the price changes, quantity demand does change, but less than the change in price. Here, price changed by 20%, but quantity changed by 10%. That's why quantity is lower percentage than the price, 0.5, inelastic. Value of PED is inelastic. So the curve is steeper demand curve. Next category, unitary. Under unitary elasticity, we concentrate the responsiveness of percentage change in quantity demand and the percentage change in price. So the percentage, if the percentage change in quantity demand is exactly equal to the percentage change in price, it is called unitary elastic. For example, if the price increases by 10%, quantity demand should also decrease by 10%. In such a case, the value of PED is exactly equal to 1. Is exactly equal to 1. So when we want to calculate such a value in compared to other methods, right now we will use unitary elasticity. We look at arc elasticity formula: percentage change in quantity, percentage change in price. Why is that? We understand the value of PED is always the same throughout the diagram. In here, value of PED equal 1. Even this place, value of PED equal 1. Throughout the diagram, it is the same. So it is said to be unitary elastic. Unitary elastic. So then, when there is a unitary elastic, the value of PED is the same. Right. Here added, if 1% change in the price of a good changes the quantity demand of that good by 1%. When the percentage change in price, the resultant percentage change in quantity demand is the same. Then the given good has unitary elastic demand. The elasticity coefficient is equivalent to 1. Here, the demand curve is rectangular hyperbola. Earlier demand curve was first of all vertical, thereafter steeper. Right now, rectangular hyperbola. It is a rectangular hyperbola. That is the shape of the diagram. Next one, elastic. In the elastic diagram, elastic means the responsiveness of percentage change in quantity demand is greater than the percentage change in price. Very first of all, we look at no response due to the change in price. Second one, lower response due to the change in price. Third one, same response due to the change in price. Right now, greater response due to the change in price. It is called elastic. It says when the change in quantity demand of a good resulting from 1% change in price of the given good is proportionately greater than the given good has elastic demand curve. And so a midpoint the elasticity of coefficient is greater than 1. Elasticity coefficient means the value of any point above the midpoint of an elastic demand curve is greater than 1. So right now, here the price change from 10 to 11, quantity demanded 100 to 80, say decreased. Such a response when the price changed by 10%, quantity demand changed by 20%. So then 20 is greater than the 10. That's why your answer is 2%, like 2. So the 2 means percentage change in quantity due to the percentage change, 1% change in price. So in this case, the value of PED is greater than 1 always. And the curve, this is the curve of the diagram. Say it is, the slope is somewhat lower. Slope is somewhat low and it is said to be elastic. We can say flatter demand curve, sort of a flatter demand curve. Right. Lastly, perfectly elastic demand. So the perfectly elastic demand means we concentrate the way of changing quantity demand without a change in price. Earlier, price change, there was a response. Right now, quantity demand does change freely without a change in price. This is called perfectly elastic. In this case, price doesn't change, quantity demand changes, and therefore the demand curve is horizontal, parallel, straight line. So then, value of PED, this is the symbol to illustrate infinity. Thereafter, it is perfectly elastic, infinite. Right. This is how we realize five types of velocities, but normal demand curve, which slopes downward from left to right, has all these five velocities as I showed you very beginning. So each and every cases we have unique characteristics. When we come to perfectly elastic, goods are very essential, no substitutes. When we come to inelastic, goods are as usual necessary, but there are some substitutes. There are few substitutes. When we come to when we look at particular foodstuffs, maybe rice, wheat flour, this and that, there are some substitutes. Then, but anyways, people have to purchase inelastic. As well as unitary, there are no substitute in the practical world. When we come to elastic, there are some substitutes like you know luxurious goods. Maybe there are a large number of substitutes for that kind of goods. Sometimes mobile phones, laptops, or variety of things we will use as a want said to be elastic. Then the perfect elastic means very perfect substitutes. That means they are very unique. In other words, substitutes or identical goods. That's what perfectly elastic. Uh, they are all the goods are homogeneous, identical. When we look at some items in the market, maybe a ballpoint pen. Where there are large number of ballpoint pens, different brands, but the same purpose. It is perfectly elastic, similar satisfaction, identical things. Right. Then the next determinants of price elasticity of demand. Simply the way of determining whether goods are elastic or inelastic. Even though we classified this into five types, the basic requirement, we can say elastic and inelastic, major divisions. So the we will consider number of factors here that classify goods, whether goods are elastic or inelastic. Right. First of all, the goods and services available in the markets have different elasticity coefficient, and certain items have inelastic demand and certain items have elastic demand. The factors that influence the nature of elasticity of items, whether inelastic or elastic, are referred to as determinants of price elasticity of demand. These determinants of price elasticity of demand can be stated as follows. Right. Uh, it says here, first one, whether relevant good is necessary or luxury. Then if the goods are necessary, it is inelastic. If goods are luxurious, demand is elastic. Second one, number of substitutes available and their closeness to the given item. Simply available of substitutes. If there are very less substitute for a good, then demand is said to be inelastic. If there are many substitute for a good, the demand is said to be elastic. Next one, the percentage of income spent on the good. If consumers spend a larger percentage, demand is said to be elastic. If consumers spend little or less amount, the demand is said to be inelastic. Uh, Next one, the number of alternative usages of given good. The number of alternative usages of given good. Simply, some goods have many benefits. Let's say water. Water is having many benefits, many uses. Then demand is somewhat inelastic. But some items, when we come to wristwatch, such a wristwatch is a essential item, but not that much required. Simply, we look at we use the wristwatch for the fashion or else as a to look at the time, to check the time. That's it. Therefore, benefits are very little. Therefore, demand for wristwatch is said to be elastic. Next one, time period. The time period necessary to adopt the change in the price. In here, we look at time period sense. Sometimes consumers want to buy the product. They search, but good is not available. Then consumers may switch to some other substitute. Demand is said to be elastic. In some cases, goods are when the consumer search the product, it is already available. The product is already available. Then demand is said to be inelastic because the consumer does not search any other substitute. That's how we distinguish elastic and inelastic by using these 5 factors. You must remember how to divide or how to classify elasticity from by using these factors, whether good is elastic or inelastic. Right. After that, I added the importance of this concept of the price elasticity. Actually, importance means it's very helpful for businesses. You know, businesses should know the way of determining their pricing strategy. Pricing strategy. If the goods are somewhat essential, if goods are somewhat essential, the price can be increased in order to increase the revenue. You see, if the goods are essential, they can increase the price in order to increase their revenue. uh, I told you that there are 2 types of essential things under the elasticity. One is perfectly inelastic, other one is inelastic. In both cases, increase in price means increase in revenue. When we look at elastic, these are somewhat luxurious things. Luxurious, not that much required, not that much essential. So consumers may purchase as a fashion. If the demand, if the price is low, consumers may buy lot, right? If the price is high, consumers don't buy much because consumers can survive without luxurious things. Or else, if there are many substitutes for a good, they can switch to other products. If the firm wants to increase the revenue, they should reduce the price in this case. Reduction in price means definitely increasing the revenue. Right. So next one, ability to determine monopolistic power of the given firm. Monopolistic power sense, single firm, only one firm in the market. It is called monopoly. If firm is having